Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Marvel Champion Hero Pack. This is for Iceman, one of the new, I think Wave 8. It's part of the, continues the Age of Apocalypse set, but it's not necessarily tied themed directly into that. But we get another X-Men. We always love more of our X-Men. I think we only got a couple more to go, and then they're probably going to jump into a new thing. So I don't know if they're going to go back into Avengers, or they're going to start mixing up just a new group of people. Maybe they hit the Fantastic Four. Well, it'd be interesting to see. Yes, we got our Iceman deck, and we're gonna get a Pyro set. So, of course, we can start off with our big giant poster, just the cover art. It's a very interesting version of Iceman as well, because he's got like the spiky shoulders. So that's usually after he's been powered up a little bit more. First time that happens when Emma Frost took over his body. Way back in the mid 90s. Yeah, these are like the black pants on. Very cool. So we do have a couple of concepts and stuff to go through first. We have Frostbite upgrade. We'll look at a little bit more because that's part of his specific thing. But we have just some new stuff that has popped up. If you've been keeping up with every set, you probably already know about all these. But if not, this is a good refresher. So we have the new card type, Player Side Steams. Player Side Steams are new player cards, type card. During a player's turn, they can play the side steam from their hand by playing its resource, placing next to the main steam, then placing threat equal to the starting threat value. While in play, a player side steam functions exactly as a side steam from an encounter deck, except they are player cards and subject to player side steam limit. The limit restricts the players to having at most one player side steam in play if one or two players start a game, or at most two if there are 3 or 4 players. If the players exceed the player side steam limit, the first player chooses to discard side steam until they no longer at the limit. Each of these player side steam produces a Victory X keyword, so the steams are placed in a victory pile. So these are really neat because they present little extra missions. Like right now, so far it's only been the X-Men, but whoever you're playing as would go up against something. Just like, again, they're basically side missions essentially. Like, here's the boss you're trying to fight, and right there's their main steam, right? And then they have the side missions that pop off, and these are ones that are tangentially to the boss or whatever their scenario is. So it's like, they're doing this. Oh, here's like they're sending some henchmen out to do this or that to distract you. These might be like a third quest they go out, like the X-Men or whoever again goes off to do. It's just kind of neat. Like, oh, we gotta go rescue this guy off to the side, or we gotta go, stop this bank robbery, even though like maybe Galactus is attacking something. Just kind of fun. Featured term, indirect damage. Indirect damage dealt to a player can be divided as that player chooses amongst characters under their control. While assigning indirect damage to a character cannot be assigned more indirect damage, it would cause it to be defeated. Keyword permanent. The card permanent cannot be defeated. Leave player have any part of its text blank except by card abilities in the same hero set, scenario, or modular set. So, yeah, some characters have a permanent card. You'll start. Iceman has some. So the only thing that can affect those cards are something else in Iceman's deck says to get rid of it. Same thing would be for a modular or a scenario set. If, for example, you have Tango and he has like a time platform, right? And it's his. He's the only person that has it. It might always be out so he can access the abilities. So nothing else can get rid of it. And then keyword Victory X. When a card of Victory X is defeated, placed in a victory pile instead of its owner's discard pile. The victory display is how many victory points that card is worth. Cool. So you have Iceman's listed as aggressive, so it's very interesting. And we'll talk about that more when we get in. Let's go ahead and hop in and see what his deck is all about. We're going to start with the mutant, the myth himself here. The Iceman cometh, I guess. Yeah, he's got 2 keywords right in his name. He has Ice and X-Man. So Ice, I think, is new. I don't know if I've seen it so much. But it's 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 defense. He has Freeze, Interrupt. When Iceman makes basic attack or defense against an enemy, attacks a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. Here comes the coolest hero on the team. I love Iceman. He is definitely one of my favorite characters. So yeah, when he makes an attack or a defense, which he has high attack and higher defense, just to attack Frostbite. So we'll get to see what that does in just a moment. We flip him over to his alter ego side. He's just a mutant. He becomes a good old Bobby Drake. So it's for recovery. Bobby Drake begins the game with 6 Frostbite upgrades set aside. Cool off response. After you change to this form, shuffle 1 ice card from your discard pile into your deck for each copy of Frostbite in play. That's kind of neat. So, like, he gets to kind of, like, refresh eyes and recover his health. He can sort of, like, rebuild up his ice supply that he kind of has. Hand size of 6, hit points 11. So yeah, he gets a little extra mini deck. We've seen this with a couple other characters. So let's go ahead and look at that and see what Frostbite does. He has 6 copies, so they'll be listed as card number 2 in the set, but Frostbite 1 through 6. And these are upgrades that are permanent condition and they're ice. I'm not 100% sure who he's freezing in that picture. Attached enemy gets -1 steam and -1 attack. It's not overly powerful, but the fact is you can use it very often will be very nice. Every time you attack or defend, so if you're attacking them, you can lower. If you don't defeat them, obviously you can like reduce their stuff to attack them, or if you're defending, you can definitely reduce their attack. Force response. After attached enemy activates or leaves play, set this card aside. Yes, you're gonna hit them. They're gonna lose that stuff for that one turn, and then it's gonna go away. So it's not gonna sit out forever, but it is definitely there's gonna be a lot of stuff that are probably gonna work with it. And then the fact is just off his basic card. Again, attacking defense, you just go ahead and play one of them. But then here is after he changes back, you can shuffle them back from his discard pile into his deck. Now that's the difference though. These don't go to your discard pile. They get set aside, so you don't have to worry about adding those to that. Let's see what the rest of his deck does. I don't think... no, all as the little rule says, just each copy is a forced response. It's just kind of re-mentioning what that does. Awesome. So let's look at his next 2 cards. So we have, everyone gets a signature ally. He gets 2 copies of Snow Clones. This is a little bit more powered up for him when he's showing off his Omega status. So he doesn't get one of the other X-Men. He just gets some extra ice clones to work with. So they have Milthwort, 2 attack with a conditional there. So 2 health. Ice and X-Men cannot have upgrades attached. Snow Clone takes -1 consequential damage after it attacks an enemy with Frostbite attached. You could say he's got an icy demeanor. So this definitely works very well. A good combo, you can already see. He attacks with somebody else. Iceman himself attacks, or defends someone against something, right? Until the next time they activate. Now they have that Frostbite on them. And then now if you attack with your clones, they don't take that consequential damage that most allies do. So you can definitely set up to keep these guys around for quite a while. He gets an upgrade item, the Power Belt item tech. This is from after they were messing with fighting Loki, and when they went to Asgard, Loki messed with his power, so he couldn't control him. So he had to wear his Power Belt to like keep him from instantly freezing everything. He couldn't turn his powers off for a while. So this kind of neat, they included this. You get +3 hit points. That's definitely not bad. Brings him up to 13. 14. That's not too bad. Hero resource, exhaust power belt. Generate a wild resource for an ice card. Beast Mage's high-tech belt so Iceman better control his powers. Yeah, so that's pretty cool too, right? Extra hit points is great. Even if it's just the second half, that's not bad. Because even like his first card there, right, was 2. So now you get to play it for 1, essentially. That's pretty cool. Alright, we have another upgrade. We have Cryokinetic Perception. Basically, ice perception. Superpower. Hero response. After resolve your freeze ability, exhaust this card. Draw 1 card if that card has the ice trait ready, Iceman. Anyone remember when I used to throw snowballs at Magneto? Ha. That's cool, right? Again, I always love this, like, synergy. He attacks, right, with his freeze ability. Attacks or defense. You can exhaust this to draw cards. So that helps refresh if it's an ice, which my guess is going to have a decent amount of ice cards. You can have them ready so you can attack a second time, place a second frostbite, defend a second time to place one. That's pretty cool. Ice Slide, what would Iceman be? That was Ice Slide, 2 cost upgrade, Ice and Superpower. Iceman gets 1 thwart, attack, and defense, and gains aerial trait. Nice. Force response. After you change the alter ego form, shuffle this card into your deck. That's actually pretty cool as well. Then you can keep getting this back very quickly. Although it just means that when you change this back, you lose all that stuff. But it's better than just going to the discard pile. Cool. We got 2 We got 2 copies of Frozen Solid. There's a big old Juggernaut in there. That's an interesting looking Juggernaut too. Condition and Ice. Hero form only, attached to an enemy. Max 1 per enemy. Force Interrupt. When attached enemy would activate, discard Frozen Solid instead. Then attach set aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. Interesting. That's neat. So you stop them. So basically you stop their activation, and then they get a copy of Frostbite, so then you can utilize that. That's cool. I keep saying cool, not on purpose. We have Ice Ball, 4 cost support. Force Interrupt. When an enemy would take any amount of damage from an enemy attack, place that damage here instead. Then if there's at least 8 damage here, discard this to attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to an enemy that just attacked. Nice. Yeah, so a blocker. Throw this out, you can block for anybody, your teammates, your allies. That's really neat. And then eventually when it gets defeated, you throw Frostbite on someone. And because he has 6 of them, you're going to be able to spread these out a bunch. Like, it'd be like a whole different thing if he had 2 copies, right? Oh, so I have to keep, like, waiting to use him and waiting to use him. Like, no, he can, like, just keep freezing guys with all these different attacks. Cool. I love this. 2 copies of Arctic Attack. 2 cost event. Ice Attack and Superpower. Hero action. Choose. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and attach a set-aside Frostbite to it. Or deal 6 damage to an enemy with Frostbite attached. Again, that's great. You keep throwing these Frostbite on guys by using these different attacks. And then if they already have it for some reasons, maybe you attack or you get Ice Wall or Frozen Solid first, now you can do extra damage to them. It's not like a ton of extra damage, but still it's great. And it doesn't like remove Frostbite. 2 copies of Ice Blast. I don't know who those guys are, but they have very Nightcrawler-esque, like, shoulder garments. 3 cost event, Ice and Superpower. Hero action. Choose a player, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to the villain, and each minion engaged with that player. Deal 3 damage to each enemy with a copy of Frostbite attached. I'm trying to put these guys on ice. That's nuts. To choose a different player, including yourself. Attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to the villain, each minion engaged with them, and then deal 3 damage to each of those minions and a villain. So everyone gets 3 damage. It's a nice AoE effect. But then you can also potentially get rid of some of them. That's nice. And then his last set cards, there's 3 copies of Chill Out. 2 cost event, Ice, Superpower, and Thwart. Hero action, Thwart. Remove 3 threat from a steam. Attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to an enemy. Seriously, dude, I'm all out of ice puns. Ha. That's nice. Yeah, so it's really, the Frostbite mechanic is really cool. You have a bunch of media to keep attaching a lot of them. That's really neat. The other thing that's very interesting about this is his alter ego side. So all his attacks and stuff are hero stuff. He doesn't have a lot of stuff with his alter ego. but it says when you change this form, shuffle 1 ice from your discard pile for each copy of Frostbite in play. So sometimes it might be none, but you could set this up and drop a couple of things. Like you played this, play Ice Blast, you could get 2 or 3 or 4 depending on how many guys you have engaged with you, or a different player. Like imagine playing with like Thor, who keeps drawing minions to him, right? Then you drop that, you have like 4 or 5 of these out, then you just shuffle all these cards back into your deck. Just build your deck back up really quickly. That's a really neat combination there as well. And that's just the fact is ice, 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 ice. This is the only one that's not ice. Besides this his item card. Everything else he has is ice. So that's pretty crazy. He's gonna basically be able to shuffle any card in his deck except his item and his 1 superpower. That's really neat. Alright, let's take a look at his aspect deck. So his aspect deck is aggression. Now, the only reason I thought this is kind of weird, I get sometimes you're just like, well, because we have this character that did this, we have to find something. And you can swap anyone around. Not to say Iceman can't be very aggressive. Some of the newer comic books, Krakoa Age, is definitely showing him being a little bit more aggressive, especially like enemies that are, like, we're trying to kill all mutants. He's definitely like, I don't care about you guys anymore. He's been a little bit more, pun intended, cold-hearted. Definitely if I would have thought, like, leadership, I don't think that really would have made a whole lot of sense. He has been a teacher during Jean Grey's school. I could definitely see him being more linked to being, Justice or Protector. I'd say Protector because, like, he's always the guy trying to, like, again, like, throw up ice shields or freeze guys to protect his teammates, doing stuff like that. I can see that. I can also see Justice because he did spend time as a champion, which is literally what he was doing. But he's always, like, an active team member. He's, like, one of the few, X-Men that almost never just was, like, I'm off the team for a while. He's almost always actively been on a team, except for, like, the only time I can think of is when Emma Frost took over his body, and he had to literally leave for a while to, like, try and figure that out, and he was on the road with Rogue. Alright, here we go. So he got some students with him, which is actually pretty cool, though. Probably for one of his teacher is Shark Girls, Ira dos Santos. So she's a 2-cost ally with 2 health, 0 thwart, but which has consequential, which is interesting. Consequential, and 2 attack with a special ability. So she's an X-Man. While Shark Girl is attacking the enemy, she gains +1 attack for each upgrade attached to that enemy. The only thing scarier than a Ravager teenager is one who can turn into a shark. So this works really well with Iceman's deck because you can keep throwing them Frostbites on him. You can throw Frozen Solid on him. There's other enemies or other characters I'm sure this would work with very good as well. She could be very powerful, depending on who you put her with. Our second one we get is Glob, or Robert Herman, which is very weird. He's like a plasmy, like, exterior with a skeleton. So he has 3 cost for 3 health, with 2 thwart with double damage there, and then 2 attack. Play only if your enemy has the X-Men trait, which is interesting to note that she does not have that. She can go in any deck. Response: after Glob enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached. So again, they work very well with Iceman, but again, they could work well with some other characters as well. We have 3 copies of Suppressing Fire with Dazzler, 0 cost upgrade tactic, attached to a minion. So here we have some more upgrades that can attach as well. Max 1 per minion. Hero Interrupt. When you attack and defeat attached minion, heal 2 damage from your hero. Cool, right? That's neat, right? Just be able to attach this to someone. It doesn't do anything at the time, but, like, yeah, you can eventually heal your hero. Healing's always helpful. Plus, with those two other guys, they're going to do extra damage, right? We have 3 copies of Surprise Move. Kitty Pryde just uppercutting Emma. 1 cost event tactic. Hero Interrupt. When you make a basic attack against an enemy with an upgrade attack, you get +2 attack for this attack. If that attack defeats the enemy, ready your heroes. These are really neat cards that work, again, really well at this deck. I really want to double check to see who else has a lot of upgrades that this could work with. You get 2 attack for that, yeah. Which is neat, though, says when you make a basic attack against an enemy, with it, you get +2 attack. Even if you don't, you could, just attack someone, right? It says if the attack defeats an enemy, you know, you're ready your hero. So it's always helpful. 3 copies of Take That. So I'm guessing that looks like a version of Colossus, and I'm guessing that is that Magic cracking with a sword her sword, but she looks a little bit might be. The card says Magic and don't come back. I'm wondering, yeah, it's like the future Colossus. Interesting storyline. 3 cost event attack. Hero action attack. Deals 7 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attack. Ooh, I wonder if Magic has a bunch. I have to double check with that. It's a really neat cluster of cards. They're only going to work with certain characters, but that's the whole point of this. And then looking for trouble. So there we have, yes, that's what, yeah, there's Emma, Cyclops, Magneto, and Magic when they were part of the, what was the name of that? It wasn't Annihilation Squad. It was something like that, though. But 0 cost event, Thwart. Hero action Thwart. Discard card from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Put that minion in play, engage you, remove 3 threat from the scheme. Interesting. It brings a minion into play, which we haven't seen too much of. Again, I know Thor did stuff like that, I remember. Minion also gets a remove threat, but discard some cards from the deck. Cool. Then the last card we have for aggression is our new player side scheme. So yeah, these are really neat. I love these as an addition. I hope they add more. Like when they do some of the other characters, go back to some X-Men or like Avengers and stuff like that, and Spider-Man like that. It'd be kind of cool. So these are neat because it costs 0. Keep up the pressure. So like these add more anything to the scheme, so anything that would affect the scheme or anything like that. Oh, if you have X number of schemes in play, these also add to that, so you can have downsides. But they're generally like, do this thing, and then you gain a cool bonus. Versus the other ones, the counter ones, you defeat them just so they're not harmful to you. So it says, when defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an attack event, add it to their hand, shuffle. At the end of the phase, each attack event deals 1 additional damage. So it's basically like, if you think you can afford, like there's not too much on the schemes you can afford to play one of these, great, drop this down. Not everyone gets, when you defeat this and every player can work with this, y'all get an attack and you can do an additional damage with those attacks. So that can be really helpful. Great, I love it. I love it. It's the only one that it's kind of funny because they're all like upgrades, attack. This one doesn't do that, and then this one doesn't. It would mean if it said search for an upgrade, that would have been kind of cool as well. Alright, so then we got our basics. Here we have good old Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde. 3 cost ally, 3 health, 2 thwart, and 1 attack. X-Men. Play only if your trait has the X-Men identity. Or identity has the X-Men trait. How if I read that the right order? Response. After you play Shadowcat from your hand, choose a side scheme in play. That scheme loses each different symbol until the end of the round. That's cool. Basically she's like negating those. Drop her in, reduce those for a turn just to help you out. And if you have a way to bounce her back, that would be cool. We're also going to get Beak, Barnal Bowhusk. yeah, he's like a bird type mutant, but he's not quite full bird. He's very interesting. Played a really huge role in the Exile series. 2 cost ally, 2 health, 1 thwart, 1 attack. X-Men. Response: after you play Beak from your hand, remove 1 threat from a steam you control for each X-Men ally you control. Nice. This would work well in a leader deck as well. I'm not really strong and I don't shoot death rays, but I'm really good at making friends. Yes, that was his whole thing with Exiles. He went and found guys and he made friends in different realities and stuff. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, bouncing, just extra threats. It's kind of neat. Like, the aggression's all about attacking, and we have 2 basic guys that are all about the thwarting, which is very helpful. We have 3 copies of Team Building Exercise. It's like the X-Men Red Team, almost. It's like Jean Grey, Bishop, Shadowcat, Psylocke, Elizabeth Bradrock version, not Kawan, and Storm, beating up Apocalypse. This would have been before Krakoa. This is why we practice, people. Hero action. Exhaust team building exercise. Play a card from your hand that shares a trait with your hero, reducing its resource cost by 1. Oh, that's neat. So, what that means is, so like Iceman here has the ice trait. He could play a card with ice, which is a lot of his cards. Or he could play one with X-Men in it, which would be like maybe one of his allies. So the other characters that would really affect would be like Black Widow has spy cards. Gambit, I think, had thief cards. He might have had some of his cards had that trait. There's a lot of characters like Captain Marvel who use aerial cards. Yeah, that could be very helpful. And then a lot of the X-Men now have psionic cards as well, Jean Grey and Psylocke and stuff. So yeah, there could be some really good things with that. We have 3 copies of Recuperation, Dr. Nemesis, and Dr. Rao. And I'm guessing that's Surge, so it looks like. 2 cost event. Alter Ego action. Heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. Nice. So basically just, you need to heal a little bit more. So like Iceman here heals for 4 for recovery, but he has 11 hit points. So here you could let him drop even lower because you could play this. And then heal an extra 4. So now he flips over, now he heals for 8. Or if something flipped him over, you could heal quick. Very, very helpful. Then the last 2 basics we have are the Power in All of Us, which is a resource. Max 2 per deck, which is why we only get 2. Double the number of resources this card generates when paying for a basic card. I love it. We've had the power for like ones like this for aggression, protection, justice, and leadership, but we get one for basic, which is really nice. There's some basic cards that are pretty expensive to pay for, and this would definitely help pay for some of them. Or even these ones that are like 2 cost each, like right, almost all like Shadowcat, right? Just drop this now, so now you can pay for one of those for free. Very, very good. I love it. I always love these cards like this too. You get those Adam in. Alright, let's take a look at his obligation. His obligation is, coincidentally enough, hot-headed. Freezing the pool as B sweeps into it. Give to the Bobby Drake player. Force response. After you attach a Frostbite upgrade to an enemy, take 1 damage. Alter Ego response. After you make a basic recovery, discard this card. These are my favorites. So a lot of the obligations are more or less like flip your character to their alter ego side, and skip a turn and then get rid of this card, or pay this cost to just discard it and then it's going to come back. So lots of them are either lose a turn of actions to get rid of this permanently, or it's going to keep coming back after you. This is actually crazy because you have to basically take a basic recovery action to discard this. Otherwise, every time you play Frostbite, you're going to take extra damage. It might be worth just letting it sit on there for a few times. Like, I can take this one, I can take this one. Okay, now I've gotten down to like half health. Now I have to flip over and get rid of this. You might just be willing to take that damage. Well, you can, so you can do stuff. But that's going to eventually come back. Like, and it kind of fits his personality sometimes. He gets a little flustered, a little overpowered. You know, like, nobody's taking me seriously type of idea. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's interesting because hot-headed seems... It's not quite like Berserker Rage or like Wolverine or something. But it kind of seems like he gets in over his head. I almost wish it would have been more like, it would have been like something to prove. That would have made more sense to me. Like, he stays in the battle longer than he should, even if he's taking risk to himself because he's trying to prove his worth. I think that would have been made a little bit more sense. Alright, then we got our nemesis. So, of course, for ice, we got fire, we got pyro. I can't remember his name exactly. John Saint something. I don't remember. I've always loved Pyro as a character. And again, it's kind of funny because he's opposite of Iceman. Then the new Marauders comic book, they actually are on the team together with Shadowcat. So it's kind of a fun little trio in here. But yeah, he manipulates fire. He can't create it. It says a little backpack on there so he can shoot fire out. But he can actually like turn it into things like animals or swirl it around. So it's kind of, you think like Human Torch, like, right? Human Torch just combusts. He becomes made of fire. He can throw fireballs. Sometimes they burst out in flames. But that's all he can do is generate fire and then use it as some sort of attack. He can shoot up in the air and make like the 4 if he needs to. But I don't even know if he shoots something in the air. I think he actually has to fly up and create a 4. I think other characters have a flare. But yeah, literally Pyro can like control those flames. It's like if he fought the Human Torch, he could potentially control every single thing that Human Torch throws at him or control the flames off of his body. I don't know if he'd be able to beat him in that sense because he can create a giant fire dragon, but that fire dragon can't hurt Human Torch because he's immune to fire. But it's interesting. Alright, let's jump real quick. Actually, he has a 4 health. He's 1 steam and 3 attack. Quick Strike. Pyro's attack deals indirect damage. You think those ice sculptures can stop me? That is not his voice at all. He's Australian. Playing with fire. When defeated, the player defeated the steam discards the top 3 cards of their deck and takes 1 indirect damage for each resource icon discarded this way. Yeah, so we got a lot of this indirect damage, which again, if I'm just remembering exactly right, so indirect damage can be divided as that player chooses amongst characters in its control. When assigning indirect damage to a character, cannot be assigned more indirect damage when defeated. So it's kind of like, it's not a direct attack, so he's not attacking Iceman, he's throwing flames in Iceman's direction. And then Iceman can take it, or he can give it to somebody else, or whoever. It also can't be defended against, I don't think. We have an attachment, Pyro's Flamethrower, which is a weapon. Attached to Pyro, otherwise it gains Surge. Force Interrupt. When Pyro attacks, you discard the top card of your deck. Pyro gets 1 attack for each resource icon on that card. Interesting. So again, he's utilizing your resources to generate flames. Now, this could be bad for some of these cards, not Iceman, but other characters that have multiple. Like Domino has some with like 2 or 3 on them. And that could be a lot harder. Then we have 2 copies of Burn, Treachery card. When revealed, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. 3 cards instead of Pyro is in play. Take 1 indirect damage for each resource icon discarded this way. Boost. Discard the top card of your deck. Gets 1 boost for each resource on that card. Nice. So there's Iceman's deck, and then we have his deck listing there, just in case you want to double check and review any of that. So of course we have his hero cards, basic cards, any of the new aspect or basic cards that we haven't seen before that aren't characters. You always get 3 copies of, except for keep up with the that's the player side steam. This player side steam you only ever have 1 copy of, and the power and loss you only get 2 because it's a resource. Cool. Then let's lastly look at his encounter decks. We're gonna get a fight off against Sauron. Carl Lycos. It says a minion with 6 health, 2 steam, and 2 attack. Brotherhood of Mutants. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for life drain attachment and reveal it. Boost. Heal 3 damage from activating an enemy and give it a tough status card. Neat. So if you get drawing as a boost, he heals guys. Cool. Sauron lives. When Dr. Lyscope absorbs mutant energy, he transforms into the terrifying Sauron. When defeated, the player defeated this team searches the encounter deck and discard pile for Sauron and deals it to him themselves as a face-down encounter card. Cool, so this kind of just sits out and gets in the way. Then we have his life drain, which you gotta search for. Superpower. Attach to the minion with the highest printed hit points. It activates against you. If no minion active this way, this card gains Surge. Force Interrupt. When attached enemy attacks, you take 2 damage and give the attacking enemy a tough status card. And then his last 3 are the Eye of Sauron. He can hypnotize you. When revealed, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Top 3 cards if Sauron is in play. For each resource icon discarded this way, do the following. For energy, place 1 threat on the main steam. For genius, discard 1 card from your hand. For strength, discard or deal 1 damage to your identity. And for wild, exhaust the character you control. It's kind of neat that they he kind of plays very not the same as Pyro, but he has a very similar thing with the discarding top cards of the deck and looking at the resource icons. And then do more if they're in play. That's very neat. Alright, so that is what we have for our Frosty Friend Iceman. Definitely some really cool cards. Really neat mechanic. Be really interested how he plays with some of the other characters. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see any other content, maybe review stuff, do that. Anything, like that type of stuff, like compare this character with that, maybe check out some of the decks. Hopefully in the future I would love to do some trading deck stuff, but I do gotta pick up some additional copies of the decks, character decks, so I can make, I can look at all the different cards. Yeah, hope to see you guys in the next video. Hit me up in the comments. Bye.